Good morning and welcome to the Kansas City Zoo. We're here live at Hellsberg Penguin Plaza, as you can see. My name is Allison Jones. I'm here in the education department at the Kansas City Zoo. And this is Randy Wisthoff, our CEO.
Good morning.
Good morning. Now you guys may have heard that we have a proposed aquarium.
We do.
A big fun thing full of blue water that's going to hopefully come join us here at the Kansas City Zoo. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that, answer some questions that we have. We've already had some people come and join us in sending in questions. So if you have some, feel free to type on the Facebook page as we go along, all right? We're going to go ahead and jump right in with the big fun stuff, yeah?
You got it.
Yeah. All right, so how big is this aquarium going to be, and how does it compare to what else, all the other aquariums we have right here on grounds?
Well, we're looking to make a really statement with our aquarium, big statement, and right now the concept has 750,000 gallons of water. That's pretty good size.
That's a lot of water.
That's about 6 to 7 times as big as the penguin pool.
Wow, okay, all right. So a much larger amount of water than we already have here on grounds.
Right.
And looking at it, it's beautiful to see.
We have some smaller tanks that actually show some of the creatures that live in the ocean and need the ocean to survive. Oh. We also have a number of species here at the zoo, penguins, sea lions, and polar bears that rely on seawater. Right. They have to jump in, and it's mostly the animal's refrigerator. So
right.
It's their pantry. So it's where they go to hunt and find the food they need to survive. Fish that live underwater, really interesting in the fact that people need to think of them as that's their air supply, plus their food supply, and their living quarters. Yeah. Everything is under the surface. So it's a fascinating world, and one that we really look forward to expanding to tell the story of the ocean. Yeah.
And the ocean is a great mystery, right?
It really is. It covers 70% of the Earth's surface. And we've explored outer space and explored the moon, and there's still parts of the ocean that we haven't explored. Yeah. So I think there's whole uncharted new territories to explore, and you always hear these new creatures they're finding underwater. They go, the deeper they go, the more they find, and I think that's absolutely fascinating.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so talking about the creatures that are in the deep, what kind of animals do you see us having in the aquarium?
Well, we want to have animals that we can tell good stories about and represent. You know, Kansas City is just about as far away from an ocean as you can get. And a lot of people I've had question, well, why would you want to do an aquarium? Well, I think that even highlights more the need is our proximity to the ocean, the importance of it. We do a great job of I think, having our terrestrial animals that live on the plains and all sorts of those biomes. But that underwater aspect, having the animals that big sharks, we'll have big sharks, 10, 12 foot long. The ooh and ah, and that's what kids always run to. They want to see. Yeah. And then a few others of those wow animals would be a giant octopus. Everybody loves octopus. They are escape artists.
They are.
Yeah, they are. They're notorious for actually getting out of their tanks and exploring the zoo or aquarium. We'll try to figure out how to keep them in. One of the real interesting animals that we'd love to have here in Kansas City is sea otter. Sea otters are very unique creatures. Some of our most popular animals here at Kansas City Zoo are river otters and our small-clawed Asian otters. But the sea otter is really interesting because they live in really large groups. They were in really great trouble along the California coast. They're making a comeback because of conservation efforts by the state and feds. But there's a rescue program through the Monterey Bay Aquarium that, just like deer and some other animals, when a otter has a baby, they can't do so underwater. They have to have a dry place because it's an air breather. So a mom will have a baby, and when she has to go out, mom has to go out to feed so she can get the nutrition to feed her pup. She puts that little pup on a rock and heads out to sea. Well, what happens, a lot of fishermen will be in their boats and come past these rock outcroppings in the ocean and say, oh my gosh, there's a stranded a baby otter, it's going to die.
Yeah.
We have to rescue it.
Yeah.
Well, that's sort of the end of the story.
Yeah.
Because once they take it inland and put it in a rescue center, it can't be taken out and released again.
Yeah.
So Monterey Bay has been working on sea otter rescue program for years, and in discussions with them, they're looking for sites to relocate baby otters to help tell the story, and then help too. Just like around here, we tell people, leave baby deer with the mom, or just leave it. If you find it, there's a reason for that. That hasn't been abandoned. So just part of nature, and just part of what a zoo can do in telling the story of wild animals and how they live and survive.
Yeah, and that'd be a really great partnership, right? We already partner with them with Seafood Watch.
It would. They're one of the best aquariums in the world, one of the biggest, and one of the most popular. And getting into conservation programs has been really important for us here at the zoo, and that's just another one that we could participate in.
That's awesome. So where do you think on grounds the aquarium would actually go, and when could we foresee it opening?
Well, we're looking at a site. We've done some concept work, and there's a site that's not too far from the Penguin building.
Okay.
It's the pathway that's kind of the shortcut over to the elephant exhibit. And there was an old valley down in there that the polar bears years and years and years ago resided in. And we're looking at that site right now. Now that's concept. We haven't gone so far as to do any site surveying or ground testing. So at this point, it's still concept.
Yeah, which is really great.
Yes.
It's kind of like we have all the options.
Yeah, and a really nice thing would be that it's really close to the front gate, 5-minute walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another indoor exhibit, really close that people can get to.
Yeah, and you can come and actually spend a half a day in it.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. So how, kind of the big question, how is this building, the aquarium, going to be funded?
Well, right now we're looking at a $75 million project.
Okay.
We need to have it big enough in scope that we can actually tell the story. Aquariums are not inexpensive to build or operate, but they're a vital piece of the planet, and we feel the story justifies the expense of the building. So we're looking at our tax district money that would, we've saved some aside, and we have enough that we can put 40 million of that in. We've been out raising money privately, and right to date we've got about 22 million that's been pledged. We know we're going to have to raise a little more money, and then we've asked the city to participate at the level of $7 million. It would represent about 10% of the project. But the zoo belongs to the city. Any of these buildings, this $15 million penguin exhibit, it's city property. The orangutan exhibit, everything we do is city property, and really is here to benefit the residents of the city and just be another jewel in our city crown.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think what a lot of the time people don't realize is that, gosh, 75 million, that sounds like a lot, but just like the ocean, it's very mysterious, it's very deep, we don't know what goes into it. All these tanks you see in this building, the life of it sits underneath. It's something that we don't see.
That's right.
Yeah, so hopefully our residents in Jackson and Clay County, they'll be really excited about it. What do you think? What's going to change for them? Is something going to change for our resident friends?
Well, just more zoo and a lot of it, and a lot more water. But when we passed our district tax, we promised education programs, and we've delivered. We will be developing special curriculum on the wildlife that's in the aquarium, and that is offered free to any schools in the Jackson or Clay County, and all the districts are using our educational materials and field trips and Zoomobile visits. And also we have the 4 free events a year where I believe it's April, July, August, and November. Are free months. One's coming pretty soon again. But the residents, every household in Jackson Clay County receive a postcard that says you have one free visit, and for that month, and so that will not go away. Our normal admission price is half price for Jackson Clay County residents. And then, as we've done with our new Stingray Bay and anything else that we've done, if you come to the zoo, the aquarium would be part of the zoo admission. There will not be an extra admission charge to get into it.
So you can park, you pay to get in, but once you're in, everything's yours.
Everything's yours.
That's fantastic.
Yes,
all
it
right,
is,
all
yeah.
right. So if the city approves the funds,
Yes.
what is the return on that investment?
Well, over the time between now and when it would open, we're projecting the addition of 100 new jobs, which is major. In the growth that we've had here at the zoo, 400,000 new visitors created 100 jobs, and we're projecting 400,000 more visitors when the aquarium opens. Also has an economic impact. We know where our visitors come from. The addition of the aquarium would create about 80,000 or more visitors coming from outside of the metro, far enough away that they would probably stay overnight.
Yeah.
Which means they'd stay overnight, they'd eat, they'd shop, maybe enjoy some other great entertainment venues we have. The Visit KC estimates every visit to town from an outsider is worth $176. So we would be increasing the visitor economic impact by $14 million annually.
Wow.
And that would take us up to about $43 million annually. So we're estimating it would be close to 300,000 people a year that would come from outside of the Kansas City metro area.
So investing in the Kansas City Zoo is investing in Kansas City
That's right.
as a whole.
That's right.
Yeah.
And again, making another major attraction to draw tourism, people from out of town, people from conventions that come to the city, something else to do in town, and a reason to put Kansas City just that much higher on the map.
It's on the map, in the middle of the map.
Middle of the map, yeah.
Perfect.
Come see the ocean in the middle of the map.
In the middle of the map. All right, so I guess the exact opposite of that question.
Yeah.
If the city doesn't approve the funds,
Yes.
then what does that mean for our aquarium?
It probably means that we just won't be able to do it.
Okay.
We've identified, we're pretty sure we can get the last 5 to 6 million, but that other 7 million would put it at a point where we just don't think we'd be able to proceed. But we're hopeful, confident. It's a great project, and we're hoping the city gets behind us and says we agree, and let's go do it.
Fantastic. So why does Kansas City need a second aquarium here at the zoo?
Well, a couple things. There are a number of cities that have multiple aquariums, and there are cities that have 2 zoos. There are cities that have numerous museums, art museums, history museums. It's just the scope, the size, the offering, the focus. We have a great aquarium in town that's focused on children, and it's sized appropriately. An aquarium at the zoo allows us much more exposure and the chance to get the story told to many more people, upwards nearing 1.5 million people a year to tell the plight of the ocean. So I think both can survive. I think we would enhance each other, and people go to zoos, go to every zoo they can get their hands on, and people go to aquariums, do the same thing. So you always see something a little different. Animals are different, how they're exhibited, and the stories they tell. So we're just excited that we could have a city with 2 aquariums.
And I think you bring up a really great point. We want to, at the end of the day, we don't just want people to come in the door. We want to connect them with the animals in the natural world.
That's the most important thing.
Mission-focused.
Most important thing we do. Now, we love visitors to come because every dollar that's spent here, every visitor justifies more of the things we can do, and tell the story of penguins. And some of these things have opened doors for us globally, that we're participating in conservation projects with numerous species here. Penguins, we're involved big time with the Humboldt penguins in Peru, Puno, San Juan. Polar bears, we're an active participant in Polar Bear International and conservation programs that are going on up in the North Pole and areas up around there. We've got projects going with orangutans and our elephants and black rhinos, and it's given us a global presence in the
now we can go into the
animals.
oceans.
Now we're going into the oceans,
Yeah.
but the animals need our help, and we're now in a position that we can do that. And by us growing, we're able to do more to help save this planet.
Wonderful. That's awesome. So, Shouldn't the zoo, well, we get this a lot, shouldn't the zoo use this $75 million towards maybe other exhibits around grounds that maybe they feel need a little more improvement themselves?
Well, we always get those questions but it's what we feel is the major story we need to tell. We've continued to improve the zoo since Friends of the Zoo took over almost 16 years ago now. That we've put over $86 million of capital improvements into the zoo, and some of those are new exhibits like polar bear and the penguin building, but we put a lot of money behind the scenes, fixing up the animal quarters, improving exhibits, and no matter how much money you have, you're always going to have an exhibit you say, that one's one we probably need to do some work on, and we keep chipping away at those. So we feel we're doing a great job with that, and want to make these, create these impact exhibits that help us grow even more and give us more of a presence and the ability to do more.
Yeah. So in thinking about the money and the increase in this brand new beautiful building, how do you think that will increase, what will that attendance increase mean for the zoo? And any final thoughts in general just about bringing it here?
Yeah, I think with visitors and spending habits, it will give us more resources to do more with everything, but we've really begun to focus on the conservation aspects and getting school kids here and telling the story, and there's so much going on the planet that we feel is really important to tell, and you know, and aside of that is just the recreational value that the zoo is a place. You have a membership, you can come out for a couple of hours, spend a fun time going and seeing animals. If you learn something, that's great. If you say, I just want to turn my brain off today and go have fun, that's okay. But the zoo is a place that's peaceful, it's quiet, it's a place that families can talk. Not everybody's on their little devices, and it's imagination that kids, we hear them asking all the time, well, why is an elephant gray, or why does a tiger have stripes? And if that answer isn't on the sign, we encourage parents to say, well, why do you think? And so it creates that imagination and wonderment, and it might encourage the kids to go home and get on the computer and explore more and maybe turn into little backyard biologists.
That's perfect. So we want you to come out to the zoo. We want you to come and enjoy. We've had a good time today here with Randy. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, feel free to check this video out a little later. It'll be on our Facebook page. Also, be sure to like the Facebook page. You'll see all kinds of great things that we're doing here at the Kansas City Zoo, behind the scenes, and things that you can do here on grounds. Thanks so much, guys, and we'll see you soon.